Good morning, folks, and welcome to 3 Zen and Merry Christmas. I'm going to sit here this morning with a hot cup of coffee, fresh, and begin by telling you about CPIP. Now, CPIP came to our squadron, I don't know, 84, 85, somewhere in that time period. And she was a great IP, conscientious, good flyer, very concerned about the students, and we just had a lot of fun with her. She got her call sign in a naming ceremony because she was relatively short and she wore her hair in a permanent. So it was just kind of fluffed out like that. And I used to get cracked up when I'd watch her walk out the airplane with her chute on, her parachute, because the parachute would catch her about mid thigh. And it was hard not to laugh at her, although you didn't dare. Not, at least not in front of her. Anyway, she picked up the name CPIP during a naming ceremony because somebody, taking her hair into consideration, said, she looks just like a little Cabbage Patch doll. Well, we didn't want to call her that, so we called her Cabbage Patch IP, CPIP. So anyway, this one morning I'm walking around the squadron. I had an open jet because of weather canceled for student training. Anyway, I said to CPIP, I said, hey, would you like to go for an airplane ride? And she said, yes, sir. And that was another thing I always liked her about her. She was always willing to go out and fly. So we signed out and went out the airplane. And the weather was what we used to call scud, low clouds that came in off the Gulf of Mexico in the early morning. So this scud layer was in there, but it was breaking up. When we walked out, it was overcast. By the time we climbed into the jet, it was becoming broken. So I wasn't too concerned about much of anything in that day. I was just looking forward to go fly. So we get in the airplane, fired up, taxi out to the end of the runway, and CPIP says, Colonel Oliker, she says, I don't think we should go. And I said, why is that? She says, well, sir, she says, the HSI is kind of turning around and around and around. The HSI was the compass we used for navigating. I looked up, and now the skies were transitioning from broken to scattered. Still broken to scattered is a good way to describe it. I wasn't concerned at all. I also had enough experience flying at Randolph. I knew that this weather was going to break up pretty soon, and I knew a little bit more about the jet than she did at the time. I knew that as the jet warmed up, the instruments warmed up, it was going to cook off the moisture, and we'd be fine. I'd seen it a few times before. Okay. Well, sir, I just don't think we should go. Okay, fine. We took the runway, got clearance for takeoff, and the plan was to do a single-engine heavyweight. Sir, how are we going to navigate if we don't have the heading instrument? And I said, well, let me show you. So we took off, and we made contact with San Antonio departure. He gave us a heading 90 degrees off to the runway. So I said, okay, we know it's going to be a left turn because that's our traffic pattern. So she turns left. I said, now look over your left shoulder and just envision yourself 90 degrees to that runway, perpendicular to the runway, and you'll be darn close. Well, she did. And then he gave us a turn to downwind. I said, look through the clouds, see the runway? She said, yes, sir. I said, okay, parallel it, going backwards. She did. And by the time we got down to the turn to crosswind, the weather was getting really cleared up. And she was just thrilled to death that she could navigate by looking through the clouds and finding the runway and orienting herself that way. Okay, so we did a touch and go and went out the area. When we got out to the area, there was another deck, about 11,000 feet or so, just overcast. No icing in it, so we could fly through it, not a problem. So we got up there and did some air work and whatnot. And then I said to her, have you ever done a 4-point aileron roll? And she says, no, sir. And I said, would you like to try one? Well, I don't know, sir. Is that legal to do? And I said, I don't know. Well, it's not in the syllabus, sir. Okay. I said, okay, fine. I'll make a note of that. Now, you want to try a 4-point aileron roll? It's not going any further than this cockpit. yeah, I'd like to try one. So she, I said, okay, figure an airspeed, and 350 would be fine, I guess. If you want to do it 400, fine. And then I said, I want you to get up to an altitude and roll in on that cloud deck and level off 50 to 100 feet above it and pretend like that's show center. And then what I want you to do is to come by, and as you come by, begin your 4-point aileron roll. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And she said, okay. So she did. And we came down, leveled off on the deck, and she rolled. Well, when she rolled like this and stopped, it was a nice roll and so forth. The problem is the nose started dropping a little bit. And then she rolled again, the nose went down further. And then she rolled the third time, and now we're going down, and then she went into the cloud and then pulled right back up out of it. I said, okay, you're dead. So I said, my turn. So then I went up and spun it around, came back down. It was a lot easier to fly the jet because I didn't have all these hands to deal with. Anyway, so I came in, and on mine, leveled off about 100 feet above the cloud, very imperceivably, but if you watch air shows, you'll see it. The nose came up first, very, very, very slightly, and then snapped it to 90 degrees. And then snapped it again, and the nose is still up because I'd fed trim into it. Here, stopped it, and then here. And now as I rolled wings level, I allowed it to coast down just to the top of the layer of the scud deck, and then pulled up, did a couple of aileron rolls. Flying's fun. So I said, you want to try it? She says, yeah. So then she tried. I said, Jane, the trick is to get your nose coming up a little bit. And that'll keep you from going down and killing yourself, although that would be spectacular, I suppose. Anyway, so she did. Just had so much fun in doing it. And we came back, and as we got on the crew van, she started talking about how much fun that was, and she just grinning ear to ear, and I went like this. I don't think it was illegal. I don't care. I mean, it's just an aileron roll. It's just a different technique for doing it. And we had some fun in flying, and that's what it was all about. That's why I love being an instructor pilot. I could take the kids out, accomplish the mission, and still have fun at it. Sir, I don't think we should go. Okay, fine. We're going. And that was a fun flight that day. And so that was I think that's probably the only time I flew with CPIP. But at any rate, we had a ball. Thanks for stopping in. We'll talk to you later.